Right, emergency stop then. You said you think you probably know what to do, so what do you think you need to do?
Well, you'll check around to make sure it's safe, obviously, first. And
I've watched videos of driving instructors going into great depth and detail about the emergency stop, which would take an hour or more to teach to a student. Whilst I'm not criticising those instructors or suggesting the theory isn't important, let's get real. If a student has to listen to you explaining all of the theoretical aspects of doing an emergency stop, covering almost every possible scenario, I promise they'll remember virtually none of it. Plus, they'll be bored witless and may decide to change instructors. Alternatively, as you'll see in this video, you can simply focus on getting them confident with being able to stop rapidly, correctly, and then moving away safely. What do you think? How are you taught the emergency stop? Do you feel my method works? Would you do it differently? Please let me know in the comments below.
I need to as well, don't I? Check my mirrors.
Would if let's make this as real life as we possibly can without it obviously being real life. Assume you're driving down the road
Yeah.
and a small child runs out in front of you. Are you going to have time to look around?
No. No. Okay, no. So.
Or check your mirrors?
No.
No.
Sounds like a silly thing, wasn't it? And then, so when you actually carry out the emergency stop, it's clutch and brake at the same time, fully down to the floor. Or is it not?
I would always read your car's handbook for
Right.
advice that they give you. Vast majority of cars, it's going to advise you to press the brake and then the clutch, with a little bit of a pause in between.
Right. Okay.
Right? So, if you want to think about it, as a set of letters or an analogy, you think BBC, brake before clutch.
Okay.
Okay. That said, again, in a real life emergency, is that small kid that's just run out in front of you going to give a damn whether you've stalled the car or not?
No. No, as long as you've stopped entirely, then.
Yeah. Is any vehicle coming up from behind you even going to realise whether you've stalled or not?
No.
It's not going to make any difference to them. It doesn't make any difference to an examiner either.
Okay.
All right. So, in an ideal world, we want to get the clutch down just a little bit after we put the brake on, just to keep the engine ticking over, just to make life slightly easier for us when we're then thinking about pulling away. But that's all it is. It's a
Yeah.
convenience thing.
Okay,
It's not
so,
a safety thing.
You'd put your brake all the way down and then the clutch all the way down with a little pause in between. Not at the same time,
Yeah. But if you don't get the clutch down in time, or you forget to get it down, the main thing is you stop as hard and as fast as you possibly can. You can always get the engine restarted afterwards.
Yeah.
If you stall.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what do you do then once you've brought the car to a complete stop?
Well, make sure the pedestrian or whoever or whatever is caused you to stop is all right, because obviously, what if they'd fallen over or something, and then you might think, oh, if I hit them to get out and just make sure they're all right. Or if it was I don't know, a pheasant or something. I don't know. I know that won't make you do an emergency stop, but something that's you wouldn't expect, and it comes out, so you have to stop. Like a deer's running across the road or something like that on a country road. I feel like you might have to really.
Well, you might. The highway code says we shouldn't brake hard and fast for an animal if that's going to put us or somebody else or somebody else's property in danger.
Yeah. Okay.
It's you can argue about the morals of it, and I'm an animal lover, and I would never want to kill an animal unnecessarily.
No, yeah.
And I'd always slow down and swerve if I could,
Yeah.
to avoid it. But yeah, let's stick with a human being for the time being.
Okay. Yeah. So obviously,
So that kid's falling in front of you.
Yeah.
Because that could happen. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you've stopped the car really quickly. You get out to check, and
you
then
need to secure the car.
yeah. So how are you going to secure the car?
Neutral and handbrake. We'll make sure it's a neutral and handbrake.
unless you're going to move off again immediately.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But obviously, say like the kid or something's on the floor, then obviously handbrake up, and then you can get in the car's not going to go nowhere.
And when you're securing the car,
Yeah.
secure it again hard and fast. So like normally you just press a silver button and lift it up and then release it.
Yeah.
This is an emergency. We've come to a rapid stop. There's a vehicle following quite close behind. They could well hit us, and then that's going to launch our car forward. So to get the car as secure as possible, keep your foot down on the foot brake, yank it on.
Oh really? I didn't know that. Like it was able to do that. So you don't. So in an emergency, like it can go up without having to press the button then.
Yeah, I mean it can do at any time.
Oh.
It doesn't have to be an emergency.
I thought you had to press the
No,
button.
the reason we don't just yank it
it.
up, because it does put unnecessary wear and tear
In the car. Yeah.
on
So
the
that-
cogs
yeah.
in the mechanism of the handbrake. Okay, so it's not something you want to do all the time.
No.
But hopefully you never have to do an emergency
Emergency
stop.
stop.
But it's certainly not going to be something that you have to do on a regular
No.
basis. So let's not worry about protecting the mechanism of the handbrake. Let's just worry about getting the car as secure as possible.
Yeah.
So keep your foot down on the foot brake, handbrake on, then assess the situation.
Yeah.
See what's going on behind. Okay? Before you decide to do anything then with your foot pedals or your gears or move off or anything else.
Right. Okay.
Okay? So hard, fast braking with the foot pedal, yank that handbrake on as you're stopping or after you've stopped, do you think?
After.
Yeah, why?
Because can't you like swerve or something when you're still moving?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you've seen YouTube clips of people doing handbrake
Spring.
turns
Yeah.
and things like that, which they sometimes do for fun. But yes, if you particularly if you brake hard and you're swerving, and then you yank the handbrake on at the same time,
yeah.
it's just going to whip the back of the car out, and you're going to put yourself into a spin, or a skid.
Yeah.
Yeah. So wait until the car's come to a stop completely, then yank that handbrake on.
Yeah.
Let's imagine that small child has now got up, they've run back indoors, they're safe, and we need to move off safely. How are you going to do it?
Okay. Then you check your mirrors once whatever's happened is like sorted, because you need to make sure it's safe to move off from where you are. So all mirror checks and blind spot checks, and I don't know. I was just going to say just like you'd normally set off.
Yeah. That's it.
Just make sure you get your mirror checks in after, obviously, because you've stopped.
Yeah.
Wherever you've stopped could be obstructing people, but obviously they'd understand. But then when you need to move off, you need to make sure there's no one like thinking you still stopped and overtaking,
Or even coming up on
Yeah,
the inside,
coming up
because
on
you're going
the
to be in a
side.
driving position. You're not going to be
Yeah.
in a park position. I mean,
No.
even a bike couldn't get past
Yeah.
us on the inside at the moment, but they could if we're in a driving position.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then if you couldn't move off safely, maybe that person has fallen in front and they haven't gotten up, and you now need to warn drivers coming up from behind, or other vehicles coming up from behind, that there's something they need to be mindful of. There's a potential problem. How are you going to notify them that there's something they need to be?
Couldn't you put the hazards on
Yeah.
when you can't? Yeah.
Yeah. So just put your hazards on.
Yeah.
Hopefully they'll respond to them, and if they do decide to come round you, they'll come round nice and slow,
Right.
because they're not quite sure why your hazards are on.
Yeah. Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're just going to practice the foot pedal bit whilst we're stationary,
Okay.
and then we'll do it on the move. Okay, so what I want you to do, just turn the engine off for a second, just with the stop-start button.
Oh yeah. Where is it there? It's because I thought it was there.
That's right. Okay, so have your hands on the steering wheel and look out the front window as if you're driving along. Okay, now you're right. Before I ask you to stop, and an examiner will do exactly the same, I'm going to look out the back window,
Yeah.
I'm going to look ahead. If there's anything coming in either direction, I'm not going to ask you to do it. But if it's all safe and clear, I'm going to put my hand on the centre mirror and at the same
Stop.
time say stop.
Stop. Yeah.
Okay, so let's practice that now, and when you hear and see me go stop,
Yeah.
Get your right foot from the gas pedal, so have it resting on the gas pedal as if you're driving along.
Yeah.
And try not to look down at the pedals.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay. And then when I say stop, just get that right foot over to the brake as hard and as fast as possible.
Okay.
All right. Stop. Nice. Nice, good pressure. Like it. Now do exactly the same. This time, if you manage to do it, get the clutch down the moment after.
Yeah.
Okay. Stop. That's it.
It's giving me like adrenaline. I'm not even moving. It is a scary like manoeuvre, isn't it? Oh God.
In practice on your driving test, they're only going to ask you to do this at a relatively low speed, and it will be on a quiet section of road.
Yeah.
Okay?
Do they always ask you to carry them? It could
No,
be
it's
asked.
statistically speaking, they ask people to do it 1 in 3 tests.
Okay.
You don't know whether you're going to be asked to do one or not. They'll always say right at the very beginning of the test, I may ask you to do an emergency stop.
Yeah.
But they're always going to make it perfectly clear to you when they want you to do it. So either they'll do what I've done, they pull over to the side of the road, or if you're on a very quiet section of the road, they'll say, okay, along this road somewhere, I'm going to ask you to bring the car to a stop in an emergency. Okay, I'm going to check out the back and I'm going to check out the front to make sure it's all clear, and then I'll put my hand under the mirror and say stop. Okay, don't anticipate me saying it when you see me looking. Just wait for my instruction. And then once you've stopped, wait for my instruction before you move away again.
Yeah.
Okay. They could ask you to do it at any speed up to the speed limit of the road that you're on. But they're not going to ask you to do it at 70 miles an hour on a dual carriageway.
No, yeah.
I've never known them to ask anybody to do it at 60, 50 or even 40 miles an hour. Okay. So normally it's going to be somewhere in the region, it's probably between 15 and 20, 25 miles an hour, something like that. So the likelihood is either you'll be in second or third gear.
Okay.
All right. But once they say stop, they want to see everything that we just talked about.
Okay, so once I've like stopped, and you said obviously keep my foot on the foot brake and then yank that up. Does it matter if my foot's on the clutch as well?
No.
Okay. And then
honestly, that other than just keeping the engine ticking over, the clutch is virtually irrelevant.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. It doesn't make any difference at all to the actual emergency that you're responding to.
Yeah.
It only comes into play when you're wanting to move away again, because obviously you need to be in first gear, the engine needs to be running, and then you need to pull away as you would do normally.
Yeah.
Okay. Everything's on the floor, so nothing's going to come flying off the back seat.
Yep.
Okay, so let's get the engine on. I'll ask you to move away, and then as long as it's clear, somewhere along this section of road, we'll put it into practice. Okay, let me just get the handbrake off to its normal position, otherwise you might struggle.
Alright, was that like really high?
It was pretty high, yeah.
Okay.
I'll practice it a few times.
Yeah. Oh, that's that
Yeah, we can
warning light.
build up a little bit of speed into second.
Oh.
Don't worry about that. Stop.
Ooh. Oh my god!
Thank you. Move off when you're ready.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh.
And look over your left shoulder as well.
Yeah.
That's it. Okay.
God.
So I think I might know the answer, but how was that?
It's scary. But I think I did it alright, did I?
I don't need to get the defibrillator out, do I?
I don't mind in one of them bags that you breathe into to slow my breathing down. God.
When we can, we'll practice it again. We've got a straight section of road.
Yeah.
And let's see if it's a bit less scary this time.
No, it's not like scary, it's just fast adrenaline just hits your body. It's like, well, okay, I've really just
You
done
did
that.
everything that you should do.
Yeah, okay.
Alright? It was spot on.
Okay, thanks.
not going to do it unless I can see a long way ahead and behind.
Yeah. I can maybe just, you know, maybe loop around and come back to that.
Yeah, we might need to loop round.
Yeah, it's fine, isn't it? I feel like this is the kind of road that does that.
This is typical of the sort of road that they would do it on.
Okay.
Stop. Thank you. And move off again when you're ready.
You're Jen. I'm gonna die of a heart attack. I'm gonna be wary of this woman. She's moving on to the pavement.
Okay, and at the end of the road, turn right.
Yep. Oh my god. I've only just got my breath back from the first one, never mind that second one. Creep, okay.
Okay, we'll do it one more time. So we're going to turn next right.
Right.
Yeah, and then we'll be back into that road that we were
Okay.
practicing. I'd leave it in second as long as
I know, I would just feel like sometimes it looks like a tight turn and then I get
Yeah.
into it and it's not. Sorry.
Stop.
Kind of really jolts you forward. Like gravity, isn't it?
It is, but it's exactly what you want to happen.
Yeah.
Okay, but
Okay.
move off again when you're ready.
First gear.
Very nice. Lovely. Really nice.
Well, I'm glad.
That's it. That it's no harder.
Yeah, it's actually quite straightforward when you like do it, because I feel like your brain automatically knows what to do. You know.
It is instinctive.
Yeah.
You know.
It's weird because
Right.
it feels like it's already in your unconscious, and then it just
Yeah.
comes into your mind.
As I say, hopefully you never have to do an emergency stop for
I really
real.
hope, yeah.
But if you do, you know, as I've said to people before in the past, you know, trust me, you're not going to be casting your mind back and thinking, oh, what was it I'm meant to be doing again with emergency stops? You know, as
Yeah.
that kid bounces off your bonnet, you know, you go, oh yeah, I'll remember that lesson now. I was meant to hit the brake really hard, wasn't I? It doesn't work like that. You just do it.
Literally, I just did it then, to be honest.
Yeah.
It just kind of happened.
And the examiner, once you've done one, if you are asked to do one and you've moved off again, they'll say, thank you, I won't be asking you to do that again. Doesn't mean you won't have to do one again.
Yeah.
Because you could need to do one at any time.
Yeah.
For real. But they won't ask you to do it again.
Okay.
We're going to go left at the end of the road.
Yeah.
To learn how to deliver effective, engaging and enjoyable lessons for both you and your students, then subscribe to our student video library. It contains hundreds of short videos of real-life lessons covering every subject involved in driver training, and is fully searchable by lesson subject, teaching techniques, and Part 3 test competencies. Plus, there are over a dozen Part 2 training videos as well. Just click on the link below to subscribe.